Hi, I wanted to talk today about a complaint I hear often from students that just Buddhism is negative, and I've heard this complaint a lot over the years that they find Buddhism is too negative for them. And in all fairness to people who say that, I can say that when I first started my practice and going to Buddhist meditation retreats, I felt similarly like, why do they keep talking about suffering? And felt that it was just always focusing on suffering and it was too negative. In fact, the very first Noble Truth of the Four Noble Truths, which was the Buddhist prescription to freedom from suffering, to a lasting peace and inner joy, was the Four Noble Truths, was this prescription. The very first Noble Truth is that there is suffering, and he called it dukkha. Some people call it stress or dissatisfaction, but basically the first Noble Truth says something like, aging is suffering, birth is suffering, getting sick is suffering, death is suffering, getting what we don't want is suffering, not getting what we do want is suffering, losing that which we love is suffering, and clinging to any of the five aggregates is also suffering. The Buddha also taught that the human condition of being ignorant to this suffering, not being aware of it, or being in denial of our suffering, is what causes most of our suffering, period. And that is also the typical human condition, that we're not aware of our suffering. Buddhism also teaches us that our freedom is found from waking up to and seeing our suffering clearly. The suffering is like the gateway that we go through to get to the other side, right? We're also directed to seeing the second Noble Truth, which is how we crave and desire pleasures, right? We want things the way we want them. And how that this wanting, this inner craving, desire, tanha, is the root of our suffering, our dukkha, our stress. So many people say that this is too negative for them. But I have to say that once I started doing this practice and getting really deeply involved in it years ago, I saw that that how my tendency and how everyone else's human tendencies were creating suffering for myself, were creating dukkha for myself, right? This human nature of how we do that. And that you can't stop creating stress for yourself until you can see what you're doing. You have to see how we create these challenges for ourselves. So in my estimation, in that way, Buddhism is not negative. It is realistic and even positive. It's realistic because it points out the human condition. These are truths. We do have stress and struggle, particularly if we're resisting experience or craving a different experience, right? But then the way it gets positive is that the third and fourth Noble Truth of the Four Noble Truths tell you that you can end these stress cycles and gives you step-by-step instructions on how to move towards freedom, a more peaceful and happier existence, human existence. So my estimation is the Buddhist teachings, once you get deeply into them, you'll start to see that they're not negative. They're more realistic, and they're positive, and that they give us the keys to our freedom from breaking free from the negative cycles that most humans are stuck in. So, here's to Buddhism being positive. Thank you very much.